Hey, it seems like a weird question, but were people living in my attic? I'm on a throwaway account. This is for my safety. You'll find out why soon. To start this story off, I'd like to say that I'm not a believer of the paranormal, which could be applied to some of the details if you're an avid believer. Some disclaimers are, my area is a pretty dangerous area. A lot of gangs and stuff here, a lot of crime. My garden is surrounded by fences. The back leads to a main road, and I have been known to suffer with audible and visual hallucinations in the past. But this isn't that! This is something entirely different. Here, let me tell you. It started off as me hearing noises, rustling around in the attic, but I figured that a bird had got stuck up there. That has happened before, and a majority of the noises were in the morning, after I wake up, and before I go to sleep. The normal times were around 7 to 9 a.m. and 10 to 11 p.m. I asked my father, and he had thought the same, so I shrugged it off. Around 2 to 3 months go by. The noises are becoming more consistent and common. But again, I shrugged it off and drowned it out with music or YouTube videos while on my computer. I wouldn't let paranoia get to me. Until one night. I had woken up around 3 a.m. and I could have sworn that I heard footsteps above me coming from the attic, across the floor. I could hear where the noises were coming from and where in the attic they were located. I ran into my father's room to wake him up. I'm not sure if we had startled something up there, but the noises stopped. And he didn't believe me anyway. He said I was just hearing things again. I can't blame him. I hadn't heard anything for a couple weeks after that, and I'm not sure why. The morning and nightly noises were still persistent, however. We went out one day, me, my dad, and my dogs. I'd left my PC on, my door was slightly open, and the bathroom door was closed. I swear to you, it was closed when we left the house. I leave my door open out of habit so my dogs can roam around the house when we're home, but not the bathroom door, because they do their bathroom in our bathroom, and I don't want that happening, so I close the door every single time. We were out for like 4 hours. We went on a nice walk. It was a great day. But when we got back, I headed upstairs into my room, and the events that happened are in this order. I saw that my door was closed. It must have been a draft. I swore I had left that open. And just before I go into my room, my dad shouted up the stairs to me. And he had complained that I had left milk and a packet of meat out of the fridge. I told him that I didn't. It wasn't me. Now, my dad's a very logical guy. He thinks that there's always an explanation to everything. So he was confused. But he said that he must have done it himself. And I went with that too. Before going into my room after the conversation with him, I saw that the bathroom light was on and the door was wide open. I went to search around the bathroom, but I couldn't find anything that was of suspicion or out of place. I walked out of the bathroom, and when you walk out of my bathroom, there's a stairway with a banister that faces you, and on that banister, I had seen some paint chipped away. Something I had never noticed before. I look at this every time I leave the bathroom, and it has never been there before. Now, I know all this could be explained as coincidence, or maybe I did close my door, leave the bathroom door open, leave the light on, never noticed the paint chipped away on the wooden banisters. Maybe my dad did get some stuff out of the fridge and forgot to put it away, and that's how I thought at that moment. I did not want to believe that someone else or something else was living in our house. But when I entered my room and sat down at my computer, I noticed that it was no longer on the YouTube video I left open. It was on some European food website. It was in English, but it had a .uk at the end. No idea. No idea. Other than that, my computer had no other evidence of being tampered with on it. Just that food website. Could have been a pop-up, maybe? Okay, here's the link. Things had escalated from there. Me and my father kept hearing weird noises in the night, and even during the day. Bangs, thuds, My father goes to work 5 days a week. He leaves at 5 a.m. and gets home at around 7. I don't work, and I am home to hear everything. A lot of the times when I'm home, I hear these noises, and my dogs do too, so I know that I'm not hallucinating. My dog started sniffing and scratching around the area underneath the attic latch. I have no idea why. They usually don't hang around there. I remember one Christmas my dad had gone on vacation, leaving me on my own in the house for a few weeks. And it was probably the scariest time of my life. I'm an adult, right? Like, I should be able to defend myself, right? Well, everything was fine for the first few days. It was great to have time alone. I cooked, I spent time with my dogs, I made them food too, nice food. I had somewhat stockpiled food into my fridge and freezer to last me for a few weeks, meaning I didn't really have to cook much, just to microwave or defrost the day before. Why am I talking so much about this? Oh, I remember. After I'd cooked everything, one day had gone by. I noticed small things going missing from the refrigerator every day after waking up. Things that I had not moved. Now, I had these like cheese wheels that I hadn't, like Baby Bell. I hadn't opened them. But they were open when I woke up. Some of the food I made was going missing. And I was running out of milk a lot faster than I should have been. This persisted for around 3 days before I finally called my friend to come and stay with me, stay downstairs. And I explained the situation to him. Oh, he was more than happy to just stay on the couch for a few days just to protect me, right? He's not scared of much. He's very strong. I figured if there was something he needed to fight, he could do it. The very first night he was here, we did a test. We acted as if we were leaving the house, gently closing the front door to potentially prompt whatever was in the attic to come down and have free reign on the house while we were out. We practically tiptoed back into the center of the living room and sat in silence for almost 10 minutes, whispering at most. We heard the noises extremely close to the latch of the attic, almost like a scratching noise to get their nails under the hatch to open it or something. I have no idea. As my friend heard it, he stamped his foot on the ground to try to scare it, assuming that there was somebody up there. And not to mention, my dog started growling at that point too. I knew I wasn't just hearing things, and I had another person for proof this time. At this point, I was terrified, and my friend was scared too, surprisingly. He said that he wouldn't sleep at night if he heard the noises, and he said he'd stay up all night with me if need be. I quickly responded to him, saying something along the lines of, "No, we're leaving. I'm gonna pack my bags, bring the dogs, and we're going to your house." He agreed. He didn't have much of a choice. And we left for the night. I came back the following afternoon with him to see if anything in the house had changed. There were dishes in the sink that had been used and not washed, food missing from the fridge, and I had switched off all the electronics from the mains before I had left. Like the PC, all the wall chargers, the lamps, everything. I was sure someone was living in my house somewhere. My PC was on, but luckily I had a passcode on it, so they couldn't get in. When I recognized that all this had happened, I called the police. They came and searched all over the house, but they didn't go into the attic. They just opened the latch and spoke up into it. No reply. They had no explanation for the food going missing and the computer being on, and I told them everything. They had no explanation. They were no help. So I got some clean clothes, repacked, and I left. This time my friend dropped me off at my mom's, and I had stayed there for a few days with my dogs. But upon returning, one of my neighbors had caught me just as I was entering the house. They knew my dad was away. They said, "We saw 2 people climbing over your garden fence while you were gone," meaning they had jumped over onto the main road and made a run for it. It wasn't unusual for weird stuff to happen in my area, but that was too weird. Most of the time they hop from garden to garden because they're being chased by police. Anyway, I went into the house, and nothing had changed. No food was missing. The same dirty dishes were in the sink, and that is the very last I had heard of the noises. It's been almost 1 year since I've heard anything, or anything strange has happened. Everything is normal. But knowing that people could have been living in my attic mere meters away from me is terrifying. Please let me know what you think, because to this day, I'm still terrified and confused, and I lack the feeling of being safe. What would you have done?